Hey guys, it's Juanita Coley, the Contact Center Whisperer, the CEO and founder of Solid Rock Consulting. And I am back with another video answering your question from this month. Now, I wrote these answers down for here because this was a pretty big question. The question was centered around, as a contact center whisperer, I'm in so many contact centers and I'm always looking at the latest and greatest technology. I'm going to a lot of technology conferences. The top 10 things and commonalities I see around successful call centers. What are the things that they're implementing? Strategies, guidelines, things like that. Again, there's so many different things, but as I sat down to think through this answer, these are some of the top 10 things that I am seeing. The first is that organizations that really are top tier, right? They're really successful, is they have a culture around training. They are always wanting to make sure that their employees have the latest and greatest information and it's accessible. So they are creating a continuous learning culture. You think about organizations that have solutions in place to where when a customer asks a question and the agent is able to it serves up that answer right to the agent, right? And so you're always training, you're always making sure that the agent has the most recent information. Organizations that are not doing it so well have outdated information. They're grading agents on poor, hey, you gave out inaccurate information. And they're like, yeah, I got it from your SharePoint. Right? I got that answer from your SharePoint. Well, your SharePoint is outdated, right? So organizations that are super successful have a culture around continuing education and learning, comprehensive training programs. It's not like a one and done. You're always learning. They're always, as the customer experience expectations change and new information is brought into the organization, they're creating training around it, be it job aids, be it, again, self-serve type of information that's popping up, just-in-time type learning. They have that. So 2, they're making data-driven decisions, okay? So they're not just following trends oh yeah, you get AI and you get, this program and you get a gift card and feedback loops. You're just randomly using, words that just every 3 months, there's a new trend. There's new conversation. They're listening to these things, right? They're keeping their ear to the ground and listening and keeping a finger on the pulse from a customer and employee perspective, but they're leveraging data to make data-driven decisions. That's important. I think also organizations that are super, super successful are ones that have multi-channel support, right? They are anywhere you want the customer is. They are where the customer is when they want to engage. So if a customer is a chat type of customer, they have chat. If the customer is a phone call kind of customer, they have phone. If the customer is email, that's the expectation from a customer experience perspective now. Hey, I want to engage with you via the mechanism that I see fit. Okay. So I think that that's important. That allows you to have this omni-channel presence around hey, I'm everywhere. Talk about brand expansion. Also, another one, keyword here, efficient call routing. So that's going to be super important. Having that, dynamic routing, making sure that you have people going where they should be, as the workforce management girl, that WFM girl, having the right people in the right place at the right time is important. Because if my customer is calling in and I'm not there to answer, or they're chatting in, or they're whatever, and I'm not there, or I've been routed it's nothing worse than, I got to be routed around, transferred 45 times. I told you what I was calling about. All right. Route me to the right person. Okay. Anyway, y'all know I go on tangents. 5. Okay. Comprehensive knowledge bases. Again, this is back to my point 1. You got to have a culture around learning. And if we're going to have a culture around learning, we have to have sufficient knowledge bases, because then that allows for us to then implement things like self-service. Right? Just-in-time learning. I love to see organizations that have what Sheila and I call just-in-time learning. It's where I'm listening. The technology is observing the call, listening to the call, and based on the questions that are being asked on the call, it's popping up, just serving up the answer to the agent. How cool is that? right? That impacts the customer experience, and it also impacts the employee experience, right? Like you don't got edges falling out because they stressed out on calls with information that's the knowledge base is super outdated. They can't find answers and they're getting graded poorly on quality based on your knowledge. All right, anyway, moving along. Quality assurance. Companies that are super successful have a quality assurance process. I did a whole nother video on quality assurance and how to make sure you have a top tier quality assurance program. Make sure you go check it out. It's somewhere around here. Scalability and flexibility. Organizations that are super successful, they have the ability to scale, right? Imagine being mentioned on Oprah's Next Best Things, on Oprah's Favorite Things, or whatever the segment is called. Okay. She Oprah. Imagine being, mentioned on Oprah. Okay. And you don't have the ability to scale and be flexible with your, processes and with your fulfillment and your customer service, all those different things. So companies that are super successful have that ability to flex. They have that ability to scale. Okay, because they know that their moment is coming, right? They're thinking about seasonality, thinking about trends. They know those things. Tip 8, they have a customer-centric approach. They are doing things based on customer satisfaction. They're not just out here aimlessly wandering. They are talking to the customer. They are doing customer journey mapping. They are doing customer surveys. They're listening to the customer and implementing that feedback. They're not just out here randomly following industry best practices, right? They're listening to the customer and saying, yes, that best practice is applicable to my organization. Let me go ahead and apply that. Now, y'all already know how I feel about employee engagement. So without an employee experience strategy, without an EX strategy, your CX strategy is trash, right? So I don't care how much customer journey mapping you did, right? Who's serving that customer? The employee. So yes, the customer's going to come in here, and do this, that, and the third. You got the map mapped, right? But if you don't have an employee experience and engagement strategy, how do I keep my employees engaged and in the know and excited about what they're doing? The customer experience ain't going to matter. Right? Because your employee experience is going to be trash, which means employee is never going to treat a customer better than they are being treated. So companies that are super successful, tip 9, probably one of my favorites, have an employee experience strategy. And then last, but definitely, certainly not least, is continuous improvement, process improvement. They're always looking at how we can improve, not for just improvement's sake and not because they're, again, following the trends, but they are listening to trends. They are listening to, hey, what's coming, what's the latest and greatest, but they're saying, how do we continue to be better? How do we serve better? How do we serve at a greater capacity? With that heart posture, they're thinking about continuous improvement. So those are your 10 tips for call centers that are most and widely successful. And that's what they're implementing. Those are the commonalities that, as the contact center whisperer and seeing thousands of call centers, those will be my top 10. All right. Till next time, guys. Bye.